Hello everyone. Today we are gonna analyze Radiant Typhoon, one of the top meta decks. We are gonna look first at the starters of the deck, the consistency boosters of the deck, extenders and 2-card combos, engine requirements, and the non-engine the deck uses. We are also gonna look at the extra deck, common choices you might consider, with additional options, and also we are gonna look at the side deck and the options it provides. Let's begin. So first we are gonna start with the starters. The deck plays 3 of the Radiant Typhoon Eldam, who searches a monster on normal or special summoning, 3 of the Radiant Typhoon Suen, 1 of the Noble Knight's Shield Bearer, who is essentially another copy of Eldam, and 3 Radiant Typhoon Chant, the spell which searches Suen, Eldam, or cards like Megala. Eldam normally searches a monster like Suen or Crusea, and these 10 cards are your 10 1-card combos. Then with the cards that boost the consistency and the draw power of the deck, we have Radiant Typhoon Vision and 2 or 3 Extravagance, which depends on which variation of the deck you might decide to bring. Then you have the 2-card combos and extenders like Radiant Typhoon Crusea and Megala. These cards paired with a quick play spell card, even from your opponent, will trigger Crusea so she can search. And when you activate an MST or Radiant Typhoon Quick Play, Megala can summon a monster from the deck, which helps you play around cards like Draw. Then we go to the engine requirements of the deck with Radiant Typhoon Phoenix and Radiant Typhoon Varun. Varun is a monster negate when you have MST in your graveyard, and Phoenix, when a Quick Play spell card is activated, he can spin by targeting 2 monsters on the field. They are your boss monsters and are required in the deck, so you can push the ceiling. Another card might be considered a requirement is Radiant Typhoon Ascendance, which is a quick play spell that revives one of the little bodies or extends into Crusea post turn 1. It helps you reach higher ceilings by reviving level 3, and then you go into your Xyz place. Then we have one of the most important cards in the deck, Radiant Typhoon Mandate. This card is essential for the deck. It allows MST to negate a card on the field, and it recycles every quick play spell card from your grave into your deck, and you draw a card. So this card is a must. Then you have 3 MSTs because you are playing an MST deck. And then we go to the non-engine. The non-engine starts with their unique wind type of hand trap, Sheena the Twin Tempest. Here you can play 2 or 3 Sheenas depending on the variation of the deck. The theory is that you play 2 Sheenas because you have so much draw power, and they are normally a brick requiring you to have a wind monster on the field. And by having so much draw power, you draw into them, and you don't want to see more than one most of the time. So 2 might be a good number, although the card is so good when it resolves against some decks that you might consider playing it at 3 if you like it. Then we have 3 Fualos and 2 or 3 Ash, Blossom or Enjoy Spring. Most of the time, and almost all decks play 3 Ash Blossom. Here with Radiance you want to play quick play spells, and sometimes you might cut the 3rd Ash or something like a 3rd Extravagance, 3rd Sheena, or 3rd Fallen. I now keep it at 3, but you can consider cutting it at 2 for some consistency. Then you have Called by the Grave, which is a really strong card here, and sometimes Radiant Typhoon get stopped by one hand trap and you can protect them. It's also a quick play triggering cards like Crusea and Varun and Phoenix to summon themselves from hand. And you can also recycle it with Mandate, having more than one Call by the Grave in the deck in grind games. Then you have one of the most broken board breakers in the game, Forbidden Droplet. And then you have Fallen and the Virtuous. Here you can play 2 or 3 copies of it. Sometimes with more extravagances in the deck, you might cut off the viable and available targets in the extra deck by banishing them, and so the third copy might be useless. So I have cut them to 2. And this way you have always 2 to loop themselves by sending Albion, and you have just enough. Even if you banish some copies with extra, you can also you can still loop both, and even if you can extend and loop a third one, you can always recycle them back with the mandate by shuffling any quick play spell card from graveyard to deck. And this way you can shuffle one into the deck and then set it in the end phase. Then we are gonna continue by explaining the side deck. We are gonna start with Super Poly. This card is so phenomenal in this deck because in formats where it breaks the whole board, it's so good, and by it being a quick play, it also triggers the stuff, your stuff, and you can extend with Crusea. It also trigger Phoenix and Varun, and you can even draw it with Vision and Extra. This card's phenomenal. Some lists cut off Extravagance and play Super Poly in the main deck. I have opted to play it in the side deck. Then you have 3 Fissures because it's one of the most boosted going first cards right now. It might get hit in the ban list, so these 3 spots can change in the future. Then you have cards like Purulia, because this deck can play very well against full wallows by giving only 1 or 2 draws if you are greedy with Megala and get stopped by other hand traps, but normally only 1 draw. And it's gonna be fine, but against Purulia, this deck at least 2 or 3 draws, maybe more, so you need this in the mirror. And this card is also good against Vanquish Soul, K9, some hands of Yomi will give you more draws, and rogue decks that summon a lot from the hand. It's a really nice staple to have in the side deck. Then you have the board breaker that Radiant can play, because all your monsters can special summon themselves without normal summoning. If you have MST or engrave, or the opponent doesn't have a set card, you don't need your normal summon, and you can play Lava Golem by board breaking literally anything. So this card is a mandatory in the deck. And the last 3 spots are for your engine to boost your consistency going first with cards like 1 Megala, 1 Manifestation, and I have opted to play the third Sheena because it can help in some situations dodge cards like Veiler and other that might hurt you. Even you can bounce all your stuff against Nibiru. So I have opted to play these 3 going first. You can cut the third Sheena and play second Manifestation or second Megala. Other options the deck might consider is draw and a third copy of Fallen in the side if you really want to play the 3, although I think 2 is enough. And this deck always wants to play 40 cards in the main deck because you want to draw your most powerful cards like Lua Droplet, Crusea, and it has some consistency issues with some if you pair it against a lot of interruptions, so you need to extend with the quick plays and have more consistent draws that draw into a good cards when you activate Vision and Extraf. And this way you always need to play this at 40. This is why you cut cards like Extraf, Ash or Fallen and even Sheena to 2 and keep other red play sets just so you can nudge it down to a deck count of 40. Let's take a look at the extra deck then. We have 3 Albions, 1 Ecclesia for the Fallen and the board breaking potential of Ecclesia. We have 1 Typhoon, which can come up sometimes. It doesn't lock your Varun from activating its effects, and sometimes you can special summon on the enemy turn and activate MST, so you can push through some grind games with it. We have 1 Totem Bird for the ceiling increase, 1 Gossip Shadow for protection against Nibiru. If you can't establish the rune early, one has Vilgar. This card turns your useless bodies with the link 2 into a link 3, which can spin back cards from grave into the deck, and he gains attack if your opponent has no monsters in the grave, so he can push through games and out annoying stuff in the graveyard. So this is a really nice card. Then you have one Wind Charmer to crash into battle and search cards like Corsair or the Little Ones. Cards like Great Fly, which can help you if you play against Branded or other stuff that destroys, and then facing if they resolve Mirror Jet, you can place a Great Flight, it will get blown away, and then you can recycle with it cards like Corsair or Sheena who are in the graveyard. Then you have the 3 Varun, because you play Extravagance you need 3, and if you play Super Pole here, there are the targets, which are Garura and Muddy. Also you can consider cards like Secretarion or the Azamina package, which are really good options if you play Saint Azamina and Sylvia against Branded, but this deck has a really good matchup against Branded, so in my opinion you don't need them. If you don't play Extravagance, you can consider them, but the cards that are needed, because you don't have many outs to Liger, are maybe Goddess, the Underworld, and when you swarm a lot of bodies on the field, you can link them all with one of the Ligers into Goddess, so this way you at least have one out. And other options you can possibly consider are Espiltal Knight, although you most of the time are locked into wins with Crusader and Megala, so SP will not get summoned that often. And by this we have analyzed the Radiant Typhoon deck and all its aspects I can think of. As always, I might have missed something, so if you have any suggestions or variations that are strong and meta viable, you can share them down below in the comments. More than happy to read your suggestions and healthy critique of the video and the decklist, and I will see you next time.